What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Wrestle Theory. On today's episode, we're going to recap everything that happened during Monday Night Raw and give a little bit of commentary along the way. So jumping right into it, the opening of the show, we had Gunther in an interview with Michael Cole. Cole barely even gets a chance to utter two words, and Gunther just loses it. He was talking about how Jay wasn't getting under his skin, how he's never lost control, but obviously he has. He is just livid. And that really ties into a promo that Jay cuts later on into the show. But just, I love this side of Gunther. Like, he needs to be this ruthless and aggressive all the time, just because up to this point, I just feel like he's been a generic heel, but this is the guy who's just ruthless and as big a star as they want him to be. This is the Gunther we need to see. And I'll go ahead and jump into the Jey Uso thing because he cut a really good promo too, right? He came out through the crowd like he normally does. He's in a media mood, right? And talks to the fans directly. Tells them that, he's been hearing how he's been crashing out, and yeah, he has been crashing out, but also reiterates that he's definitely locked in and claims that Gunther is afraid of him. I don't know about afraid, but he's definitely under his skin. And he's oozing with, and Jay is oozing with confidence at this point, and says that he will definitely see him Saturday and win the World Heavyweight Championship. And then, he kind of starts to heat up, right? He exits back through the crowd, and, the fans are wanting it, they're cheering for it, and he winds up giving them a good yeet session. So that was kind of the two things with Jay and Gunther. For our first match of the night, we had Bayley versus Liv Morgan. Bayley, she's been really upping her game to me. And I feel like she's at the start of maybe a push, which I would love to see her kind of back in the main picture, because to me she's just kind of been by the wayside and been used as a jobber. But I really think Bayley's way more talented than that, and I'm hoping she's about to get a good push. But that being said, the match kind of looked like a botch fest to me. It was a really good match, but there was just some spots that took a little bit of that sizzle off of it. But overall, it was a good opening match for the show. Next, we had Rey Mysterio and Julius Creed going one-on-one. And, of course, they're joined by their LWO brothers and their brothers in American Made, respectfully. It's a pretty good match. Everybody's giving their best shots. And then American Made tries to get involved. LWO hops up on the apron. Ref both just kicks them out. Kicks them both out. Sends them to the back. And we continue getting an awesome, athletic match. I have no clue how Rey Mysterio is still doing this at his age. But congratulations to him. He looks great. And, honestly, Julius Creed is a great superstar. And so I hope that he and American Made will continue getting some opportunities to showcase what they can do, whether you like them or not, being that they're heels. But we go on with the match. Here comes El Grande Americano. Ray tries to remove his mask, and eventually winds up winning the match, which has me thinking, I'm wondering if this becomes a mask for mask match at WrestleMania, because I believe we've seen Dragon Lee get his mask pulled off from Americano not too long ago, during a match. But I could be wrong. But anyways, Americano attacks Ray and delivers a headbutt from the top rope post-match with that stupid piece of metal in his mask. What are we doing? So hopefully Adam Pearce does a little investigation and maybe finds El Grande Americano or just Chad Gable, whichever one you want to do. Then we jumped to a promo that was cut. It was just a video promo, nothing really spectacular, by the War Raiders. And they just talk about bringing a war to the New Day. And then, of course, the New Day respond in an interview with Jackie Redmond backstage. And they talk about how they've been at war their entire career and that it's nothing new. And this one could be one of those sleeper matches at WrestleMania. We'll see. We know the New Day does good work. I love what the War Raiders do. This turn and ride that the New Day have been on with shoving Big E out of the picture because of his injury and just, them acting like they don't get their appreciation. I love it because I don't think they get appreciated enough. So I think it's a great angle for them to take creatively. So we'll see where that goes, but keep an eye on that match at WrestleMania. Our next match, we had AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross. It's been a little weird, I guess, for me with Karrion Kross backstage trying to bring AJ along with him or what have you and trying to give him advice. This is in the build to the Logan Paul match, but I hope that they continue a program after WrestleMania, whether AJ wins or loses against Paul, because I like what Karrion Kross is doing. Psychology of things is pretty good. But it was a pretty good match between the two. AJ winds up picking up the victory, and of course Logan's going to come out. Sarcastically does the old congratulations, man, and then proceeds to show a video highlight package of himself, like any of us want to see that, but you know what, it's whatever. But AJ responds and just says, hey bud, come get in the ring, we'll start WrestleMania right now. As Logan Paul's walking down to the ring, Karrion attacks AJ from behind, and AJ tries to fight back, and then the numbers game winds up catching up to him when Logan hits AJ with a pulverizer, and Logan just continues to draw heat. What he is doing is great. So when I say whatever, that's being I don't want, we hate the heels, right? But seriously, Logan is doing great stuff. Whoever he's working with behind the scenes has done a real good job at coaching him up, and he's just taken this business by storm. And I hope that now that he's more of a full-timer, I hope that he will get some opportunities in the future. In the short future, matter of fact. Then we move on. We had that Jay promo, right? We've already discussed it, so we'll move on to the next thing. We seen Judgment Day assault Braun Breaker backstage. Immediately following that, Penta comes out to the ring for a match versus Finn Balor. And Penta really went at Balor at the start of this, really set an aggressive tone for the match. I really love what Penta is doing as well. He's just awesome. He's a little bit of a loose cannon at times, right? He's not botch free by any means, but just he's super electric. And I'm glad that he's in this spot at WrestleMania. Of course, we hear Dom and Carlito. We hear that they're coming out to ringside. Well, guess what? Immediately followed that, Breaker comes back. They thought they got rid of him. Not so fast. And then Braun just goes right after the Judgment Day, gets in the ring, hits Balor, giving Balor the victory as he gets disqualified. Um, and, the double team beatdown ensues. Braun eventually, he fights back and just delivers a monster spear and just sandwiches Carlito and Dominic with just a single spear. It was awesome. Braun then directs attention to Penta, who sends Breaker out of the ring and takes out Judgment Day and Breaker with a dive off the top turnbuckle onto the floor. Again, high-flying Penta, just awesome. And I hope, actually, he's my pick to win this match at WrestleMania for the IC title, but we shall see. I think it's about time that the luchadors in WWE just stop fighting with each other and actually get some opportunities at some main titles, because sometimes I feel like the luchadors kind of get stuck in a box. But what's happening here, I love it. So good for Penta, and just good for luchadors in general, because I really love what they do in the ring. All right. So that brings us to our main event of the evening. Not a match, but a good in-ring promo session for the main event of WrestleMania Night 1. We open it with Paul Heyman backstage waiting for Roman. CM Punk just walks up to him because Heyman's just in distress, man. I feel bad for Paul Heyman these last few weeks and months, really. But CM Punk comes to comfort him and, says, "Hey, man, I'm a real friend," and, it's a whole love fest, right? Trying to calm down Heyman. But here comes Roman, pulls up backstage in his SUV, gets out, sees them two talking, just walks right past Heyman, and he starts pleading, "My tribal chief, my tribal chief." And Roman's just not having it. He acts like he doesn't even listen. So obviously his music hits. He's walking down to the ring, and you just see Paul following him, chanting, "Tribal chief, tribal chief," and just following Roman down. And Michael quote so eloquently quoted by saying he looks like a puppy dog following Roman out to the ring. Roman continues to ignore him, and I guess Heyman's like, "I'm just going to stand in the background and do my thing," has the mic ready for him. Roman doesn't have it. He just looks at ringside like, give me the mic. It's like, "Paul Heyman, you can keep your stupid mic, dude." And he goes on to tell the crowd, "I know you wouldn't betray your tribal chief." And then he gives Paul a little bit of dialogue regarding, "But you did, right?" And says that the tribal chief doesn't ask for favors. He didn't ask for a favor. And that he shouldn't have to pay for a favor that he didn't ask for. And that would be obviously CM Punk having Paul Heyman in his corner for WrestleMania. And then here comes Rollins, right? I was honestly surprised. I figured CM Punk would come out first, but here comes Rollins. And then it made sense when he got in the ring. He tells Roman, "After all these years, you're finally getting it by yourself," which I thought was genius. The way that they're tying everything kind of back to their Shield days as far as the Seth portion of this three-way rivalry, I love it. And I think it's bringing something out in Seth that we haven't seen in a while. Because he's been kind of like a workhorse and what have you, and, playing to the crowd and stuff. It seems like he's trying to get a grasp and a chokehold back on the company, and I love it. And then he goes on and makes jabs at Roman about being a part-timer and that the future of the wrestling business can't be him and it can't be CM Punk. And honestly, It's a genius angle. The only thing that I have with this is he kind of sounds like Drew McIntyre. Um, you know, driving this business down. CM Punk's terrible. I'm the best. Look at me over here. But hey, if the payoff can be something epic, then let's go for it. But it kind of sounds like something recycled from creative, and stuff gets recycled, but it's Drew McIntyre's been on this spiel for like a year, if not a little more at this point. I can't even remember, but it's kind of like the same story happening in real time, together, just with slightly different people, except for CM Punk, who's in the middle of all the drama. But hey, I love that too. And then he just goes on to tell Roman, Heyman could have made a decision. He could have said, "I'm not giving you the favor," or he could have said, "I can't do that favor." But no, he chose to be in CM Punk's corner instead of his. He tells Roman that was a choice. Um, and Roman then says, "Hey Seth, you're right." Tells Paul Heyman he's right, and that you've made your decision. And then he just comes around and says, "Well, I've made mine." Sucker punches Rollins in the face, throws him out of the ring, and just as Paul was, this dude is hilarious. So I was like, "Yes, you're my tribal chief. I love you, my tribal chief." Roman was like, "Nah," and just throws him down, which then prompts CM Punk to come out and try to defend Paul. Him and Roman have a good exchange for a few minutes. For a few seconds, really. And as CM Punk gets the better of Roman, goes to check on Paul, Roman just recovers quickly, sneaks back into the ring, and hits CM Punk with a spear. And then to kind of close everything out, Rollins himself lurks back in to the mix and hits Roman with an all-familiar Shield chair shot. Which, again, tying everything back to the Shield days. I'm loving this. And, we seen this last year at WrestleMania when he was helping Cody in that championship match. It's the mind games that Seth Rollins can play, to me, is second to none. The dude is fantastic. And, again, I love the direction that they're taking with his character of this chokehold on the company thing, because that's going to push him back into like super stardom, right? Because that's where he needs to be. And again, he's been kind of a workhorse, not necessarily a jobber, but not too far off from just being a jobber, right? So this is really good to see. It just makes for great television. And then he proceeds to deliver stomps to both Punk and Reigns. And that's how the show goes off air. All in all, I definitely give the show probably like an A minus, because like there are some botches in couple matches. I don't know. It would have been probably an A plus even with a few of the botches that were very obvious, but I don't know that it was a WrestleMania, the Monday before WrestleMania. Type of show. So, but that's where we're at. But thank you guys and have a great day.